Hey, I'm Jon Thelen. Today on Fish Ed, we're doing some shallow water. Ooh, look it, right there. Right there, got one hooked up. Just as we were about to open the show, we're doing some shallow water trolling today. We're doing it in dirty water. It's a good eye, isn't it? Let's slow this one down. We're doing it in some dirty, dirty water. And what we're gonna talk about today is how to trigger fish in shallow, dirty water, because there's ways to do it that'll help you catch a lot more fish. Look at that, I picked some garbage up coming in too. Look at that though, great eye to start our day. That's exactly what we're gonna catch today. It's a whole bunch of these eater-sized walleyes. Let me just lift him right out of here if I can. Look at that. That's what we're after today, a whole bunch of these eater-sized walleyes, and there's a ton of them in the system that we're fishing. We're actually on Red Lake, and there's just a ton of fish that size. We'll throw him in, he's gonna be a great dinner fish, but what I was so rudely interrupted by that fish on was there are ways to trigger fish when you're fishing shallow, dirty water, and that's what we're gonna talk about today, because I'll tell you what, once you figure them out, once you figure out how to get a fish to react, you can 9 times out of 10 get them to bite, hang on, get them in the boat. It's just a question of getting them to react, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Steve Kusske is going to join me. We're going to whale on a whole bunch of fish, show you exactly how to do it, not only here on Red Lake, but anywhere you go where you're fishing shallow, dirty water. So stay right where you're at. Fish Ed's coming up. Ooh, there's one, guys. There you go. That feels like a decent fish. Oh, if it's a walleye, it's a real decent fish. I'm gonna slow down just a little bit. There he is. I think it's an eye.
Looks like an eye, yeah.
Looks like a good walleye is what it looks like. Oh yeah, that's
nice
a good
one.
That's a good walleye. Huh. Man, he just smashed it when I turned the boat to come out. Hang on here, buddy. Yeah, why don't you get up there, bud, and be ready. Because you know what? That is a good eye for the body of water we're on. Look at that. That's awesome right there. Man, right there is a simple example of what you gotta do when you're fishing dirty water. And that is just cycling through colors. And one of the things we're doing today, we're fishing Wally Divers, but you wanna hand me up pliers there, Steve? That's an awesome fish. What we're doing here is we're cycling through colors. In fact, we got them laying on the back deck. This isn't what I started with. I started with a chrome and blue. I switched back to something with some white in it. That walleye right there, that's an awesome walleye for Red Lake. I'll tell you what, he wants to eat, but you gotta figure out what is gonna trigger him. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of stuff going on. You can see boats back behind me. There's people jigging. There's people pulling cranks. There's people doing a lot of things. But when you're in dirty water like this, what you got to understand is there's going to be certain colors that trip their trigger. And that's why, you know, I kind of make fun of it. It's easy to say you got to have a ton of colors of crankbaits. You got to buy a bunch of colors. But you know what? If you want to catch fish crankbaiting, you really do gotta have a lot of colors in the tackle box. And the reason is plain and simple. Man, we've gone through 3-4 colors that haven't caught fish today. Now, does that mean that they won't later in the day? No, they may later in the day as well, but as soon as I got something with that white belly on it, all of a sudden, boom, that fish whacks it. So that's one of the things I would tell you is anytime you're fishing dirty water, shallow or deep, is have a variety of colors, because that variety of colors, and cycle through them. And what I mean by cycling through them is one of us is changing about every 20 minutes. If we don't got a bite on that rod, there's a cycle that's taking place, and we're trying to make sure that we're finding something consistently that might look different to them, might trip their trigger, might do something to make them react. That's a good one right there. Let's get back out there. There's one. Oh yeah, it feels like an eye, bud. Slow this thing down a little bit. Oh yeah, there he is right there. Just gonna come in the surface. Good walleye.
Yeah, it is.
Go ahead and get up there and scoop as soon as you can, because I don't think he's hooked real good. No, he's not. He's on the back hook. Good eater fish. Yeah, look at that. Perfect. 14 incher. Look at that. When I said not hooked real good, there you go. Not hooked real good, but another good eater size fish, you know. I'll tell you, I made one little change here, and it's another thing that I think makes a difference here and there. And that is, if you notice, all of a sudden I've got the long handle out on the kicker motor. And the reason I've done this handle's out now, because what I'm doing is I'm spending more time going up and down in speed. I'm just popping it, speeding up a little bit, slowing down a little bit, and I'm turning a little bit sharper. And part of the reason for that is sometimes you just got to trigger them with some extra action that you're not necessarily, the lure's not going to provide for you. You're actually going to be able to do it here at the motor. So what I did is I just took the handle out. Before I was just using the trolling motor up on the bow to move me back and forth. Well, now what I'm doing here is I'm actually moving the boat with the kicker motor, speeding up a little bit. You'll hear the difference in the throttle on and off as I kick it up, slow it back down. We're just trying to trigger them with that little bit of extra, you know, just something extra. And that's one of the things I've learned over the years is if fishing starts getting a little tough, don't just keep doing what you're doing. You know, find something, whether it's that color change we're talking about, that lure change, or even here, maybe a little bit of a speed change, a directional change. There's always something that's going to trigger fish. You know, when I was tournament fishing, I used to say to myself every now and then on the way in, don't worry about it. Nobody got them today. They just weren't biting. And you know what you found out every time you got to that weigh-in? They were biting. Somebody got them. Somebody's always getting them. I don't know if they were really biting or if somebody just found that change, that little thing. There's one right there, Steve. Yep. Snapped it just as I looked over at you. But, you know, finding that little change, it can make all the difference. Is he still on there?
Yep.
Okay. I'll get the net for you. You want me to slow it down a little? Look at this. I got another one on over here.
That's an eye.
Okay. You want to just hoist him?
I can. Yeah.
Just hoist him because I got another one on over here. Holy smokes. And this one looks and feels like a better fish. Oh, nothing wrong with him, though.
No, he'll do.
He's going to go home and eat. Another walleye back here. Holy moly, did we get into a little pile of them. How cool is that? You know, that's the thing about trolling, that I actually just killed that motor there for us, but I'm just going to make sure of this fish because this is a good one here. This one will wrap our day up. Let's see here. Oh, he is not hooked good. If he moves wrong, we got a problem.
Got him?
Yeah, I got him. Look at that. What a way to wrap up a day. I'll tell you, a little bit of a fire drill here at the end, but one of the neat things about pulling cranks and the situation you just saw right here is it can happen so quick when all of a sudden you get these fish to bite. And that's what we did. We came through a good pile of fish. Another great walleye for the dinner table. You know, do some trolling, but remember when you're trolling, don't just pick a straight line and go, because I'll tell you what, there's so many different things you can throw into this, whether it's color, shape, action, speed, direction, all this different stuff. Man, you pay attention to all that, walleyes like that, they're just waiting to bite.